All right, and we're back with the show. It's coming right back at you here, and it is still a tumultuous time right now for everyone involved because of the coronavirus and the ongoing pandemic that's out there. But one of the most hard hit communities and one of the, I guess, most damaging effects on an industry is the movie industry. A movie that, an industry that we use here as a daily basis for conversation and obviously for our show each and every week, but as a sort of refuge for us to escape from our lives and just catch a good flick every now and then. And we always talk about all the stuff that's coming on for movies and whatnot. And lately, because of the effects of the coronavirus, we've been talking about a lot of movies, and I mean a lot of movies that have been pushed back, altered, their traditional trajectory as a movie has been changed over the course of the next at least 2-3 years. We're seeing the residual effects from it. Everything from Troll and some of the other movies that are going straight to digital, which is not making AMC or Regal Entertainment very happy at this point in time, but also the movies that are still on the theatrical plate that are coming out later, this year, that are coming out next year, and so forth. And I wanted to talk specifically at this point in time because theaters are now starting to open up at least a little bit in certain areas, certain specific conditions. And at least for the foreseeable future in 2020, the audience is not going to be quite the same. So here today to talk to me about his thoughts on what movies can still find an audience even in a coronavirus 2020. Here with me today is, you got to go ahead and check the show because it's a great show. It is Cinematic Blindspots. I love it already. It's Cinematic Blindspots. I've already heard a couple episodes already, and I enjoy it. You can catch it today wherever you get your podcasts, if that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what have you. It's a great outlet for anybody that's willing to talk movies. And with me today is Josh Gilstrap. And Josh, just so great to have you on the program.
I appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you, friend, I'm talking to you right now as far as I wish it would be under better circumstances. I wish you could I be doing this vast summer movie preview where we would talk for hours, and hours and hours upon end about the movies that would be coming out this summer. In fact, I almost get a little bit of a sniffle right now or a tear in my eye because the fact that week would be Black Widow week. And we'd be all jazzed and pumped up for that, especially for those who love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You got to remember, it's like 1 year ago this week that Avengers Endgame came out. And it would have been this week that Black Widow would have movie again for the Marvel Cinematic. Something that I and two daughters that love the Marvel Cinematic Universe absolutely would have loved to see come to fruition. This is something I've been asking for on the show for 3 years now, that this Black movie is long overdue. I'm glad it come out, but it would have come out. Again, it's been delayed like every other movie that's out there to November. So I ask you, as far as the coronavirus is concerned, I want to hear thoughts on, can Black Widow, first off, find an audience when it comes to this year, technically speaking, in November of later this year in 2020?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Thor movies might have come out in November, but for the most part, the MCU is a summertime movie industry, the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'll be curious to see too. Like you said, some theaters are starting to open up. I'll be curious to see how many people are actually going to the theaters. Like I've heard that they're going to roll out maybe some like older movies and just let people in for free to ease them in. I don't know if that's still the plan or not. I don't know if you've heard anything about that. I've heard that.
That's something that has been talked about. I think that's probably the best way to do it. In China, in that all important box office industry that's over there, and they're right now currently the number one in the entire world. They had already started to do this, but then they had to close theaters because they got, again, a larger wave of infections. But they were starting to go ahead and release popular Marvel movies or popular movies that they were to get people back into there, whether it was at a low cost or just free. They were trying to entice people to get in there. So that is something that is being talked about with certain theater chains as far as just trying in the door. And you're right. A lot of people, until there's a vaccine, are going to be very hesitant about going back to theaters anytime soon.
Right, we're going to have to see who's willing to be those scapegoats, so to speak, because I don't know, we might end up with a second wave and be right back in their situation as well. And we got to see who's willing to take that plunge in the beginning, because I'm probably not. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm probably not going to take that because I have little small kids at home. So that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
And I don't blame you a bit for saying that, or even feeling, or even doing that, because of the fact that, like you said, you've got a family to protect, and even me and my daughters, who are so ramped up and so psyched up to see the justification of Black Widow on the big screen, we will be hesitant about even going back to the theaters to even see the movie, because if there's one movie that's going to draw us back, it would be Black Widow. But that movie, whether it's Wonder Woman 1984, whether it's that movie, whether it's the James Bond movie, No Time to Die, whether it's anything coming out in the foreseeable future, it is going to be a hard time getting people back into theaters in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly. Like, I think the movie that would bring me back is probably Halloween Kills in October, just because I'm a big horror guy. So I might be willing to don a mask and take a risk for that one. That's me personally. I don't know. We'll see. But like you had already said, everything's changing on a week to week, sometimes even a day to day basis. What's going on? So who knows what's going to happen over the summer? Because I know Disney's pushed back, like what, Mulan to the summer. I don't know if that's going to get pushed back again, or maybe I think some stuff has already been moved to next year. Just to play safe and keep their good spot in the release schedule. So
he's made a lot of changes, and Marvel and Universal and all those theaters, all those movie companies made serious changes. In fact, I've just talked about recently on the show where Thor and Doctor Strange 2 have been changed back multiple times. So we're seeing now that Thor is now not coming out in 2021. It's now coming out in 2022, and which was the movie coming out 1 year day originally, is now got bumped back to November and bumped back again to March of 2022. So all the shuffling, rearranging of the decks is very interesting to see, but unfortunately it's necessary due to what's going on with the coronavirus. Right. But like you said, Halloween Kills, apropos right about now. Halloween Kills might be the movie you might go back to, but Black Widow might be for us. Like you said, I might be just wearing a full mask, full body hazmat suit, and be standing up the entire time and not even sitting in the seat for the entire 2 hours. I may do that instead, just to make sure I'm trying to give my chance the best safety possible. But I wanted to ask you this in all seriousness, without the hazmat suit aside. Ian, you talked about Halloween Kills. I mean, you do not see in any way, shape, or form the movie industry going anytime soon. Could this be a problem that continues lingers into 2021 as well?
Oh.
You still there?
I really am kind of afraid of that, actually, because I mean, like I said, we don't know when this thing's really going to end. We don't have an actual vaccine for it. I'm here. It was cutting out a little bit, but I think I got the gist of the question.
Oh yeah, no, you're all set. Go ahead, go for it.
Okay, I was just saying, there's a real chance it could get pushed back to next year, because I don't know that people are going to be ready, especially if we get hit with a second wave and have to shut everything back down because we're rushing to open everything back up as it is. I don't know that that's necessarily the answer, but I understand people also want to make money, so they're definitely going to have to take that chance. But I don't know. Because like every time you move something back, something that was in that spot has to get moved back too, because you can't have 15 movies released the same weekend. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Oh, you seem to be frozen on mine. Can you hear me? No. Uh-oh. I see you, but I can't hear you. I see your mouth moving, but I cannot hear you, man. Sorry. Sorry about that, Jerry. It looks like you're muted. It's, by your icon, it has a
Yeah,
mute.
that's right. Sorry. I was busy typing out something. I
There.
realized. Okay, sorry. So it is going to be something that we're going to look at problems. So I apologize for that, for my muting. So it is going to be something that we're going to look at, and it's going to be continually a problem as far as the scheduling is concerned for these movies. And you're with movies that could be condensed into a format where you have one hit after another hit after another hit. There could be a problem of cannibalizing themselves as far as that there is out there. The limited amount of people that want to go see films may be torn on seeing one or two, but there's going to be so many coming out within a short period of time affected also. So yeah, that's going to be a problem down the line that people have to deal with, and these movie companies have to deal with as well.
Right, and I'm curious to see how the VOD market takes off even more after the success of Trolls World Tour. I mean, I think that movie was a big success because it's a family movie more than anything. At least that's my opinion, just because you have families of like 5 people going out there. It's a lot cheaper to pay a little $20 rental fee and you get it for 2 full days versus taking a family of 5. It's going to cost you minimum $50 probably before you hit the concession stand to go see that movie in theaters. I don't know that every movie will work in the VOD format, and some movies just need to be seen on a big screen. I mean, a lot of the movies in the MCU need to be seen on the big screen to really appreciate them, at least the first time. You know, you can enjoy them again on the rewatches at home, but that first watch needs to be experienced in a theater.
I agree with you on that. I'm just hoping that the experience will get better and safer as we go along. Hopefully we can get a lot of out as far as scene, or some can make the arguments for for fans out there and going back in droves to the theaters sometime soon. I cannot agree with you more on that. Well, one last thing I want to talk to you about. Oh, one last thing before we head on out, my friend, and that is this. Josh Gilstrap, I'm talking to from Cinematic Blindspots. I've talked about the show so well and what you guys do as far as such a great show covering the world of. But you've heard about my talk about Cinematic Blindspots, so I want you to go ahead and shout out to everyone out there why people need to check out each and every time you guys are dropping an episode of the Cinematic Blindspots.
You know, me and my co-host Adam, we're big time movie lovers. And the cool thing about us is that each week we're introducing each other to a new movie that we've never seen. We're taking turns, and we come from different backgrounds as far as what we grew up with. So you're never going to turn in and get the same kind of movie. Our selection is all over the place. And what we do is we take one movie a week, and we start at the beginning and pretty much work our way through the whole movie. And we might get behind the scene facts we find. We talk about how it performed at the box office, what critics thought of it, and all that. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a fun ride. And if you don't like the movie that week, turn back the next week, because I promise it's going to be something completely different.
Once again, that's Cinematic Blindspots. You got to check out every awesome episodes as the guys talk great movies one week. Could be another movie the next. Check out to see what movies they're talking about each time they have an episode of the Cinematic Blindspots, wherever you get your podcasts. Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, it's been just great talking to you. I really, truly appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. Any last thoughts on the way out?
Well, I missed that last sentence.
Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, I just want to say I appreciate you letting me come on and talk movies, man. This is my passion. I love just talking about movies, anything movie related makes me happy.
Absolutely, my friend. Just great to have you on the show. Cannot thank you enough for talking movies, because movies I love to talk about all day long as well. In fact, we do so right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.